You know, in her time in office, Sally Capp has proven to be an outstanding Lord Mayor, and she's proven to be a tireless worker. In fact, one would be pretty hard to find in public office someone more committed to driving the economic and social growth for the City of Melbourne than Sally Capp. In fact, she's been heard to describe herself as the chief salesperson for Melbourne, which makes her announcement of a report by PricewaterhouseCoopers that was commissioned by Council very, very important. The idea was to help plan for the economic recovery and support of businesses following the impact of the pandemic. And if you think about it, the report is a very sobering account of the despair which has enveloped our city. It notes that the pain has been so great that many jobs and businesses will be lost forever. And that's traumatic. Under the COVID-19 restrictions, the inner economy of Melbourne has been the hardest hit region in Australia, the entire country. In fact, PwC's modelling shows that the COVID-19 pandemic could reduce the economic output in the City of Melbourne by as much as $110 billion over the next 5 years. Now, that's some forecast for this great city of ours, which saw our economy booming before the arrival of COVID. Last year, it actually reached a record $104 billion, and that's a massive 24% of Victoria's gross state product. Now, on those figures, we were undeniably the economic powerhouse of Australia. PricewaterhouseCoopers' report now tells a vastly different and disturbing story. It shows that Daniel Andrews' strategy strangled Melbourne and has helped to drive a stake right into the very heart of all Melbourne businesses and cripple the state's economy. Daniel Andrews' decisions have managed to not only snuff the life out of Victoria, but it's pushed many Victorians into a state of despair, a real depression. The Premier's growing incompetence and the way that both he and his government have handled this pandemic make them the people most responsible for the ruination of the City of Melbourne and the state of Victoria. They've truly stifled the state to the point where, there's no other way to say it, an economic Armageddon is almost on our doorstep. Both the City of Melbourne and the entire state are on life support. This PwC report is a reaffirmation of what we already knew, but for the Premier, he's still refusing to discuss and acknowledge his mistakes. And it's yet another damning outcome for the Premier, who must not only hold his head in shame over it, he should actually consider taking a break from office or even standing down, especially when you consider what has gone on and occurred during his watch. Daniel Andrews has been the architect of the city's slow death, as well as the conductor of a vile orchestra that seems committed to a plan of nonsense, a plan of arrogance, a plan of delusion. The impending death of businesses in the City of Melbourne and throughout Victoria is quickly turning this state and the city into an economic wasteland. We need action. Does our Federation allow for the Prime Minister to come to our assistance? I'm not quite sure. Do we need to ask the Governor perhaps for options? As we said, these are desperate times. Many are saying that the situation has become so dire the PM must step in, because based on the report by PwC, if we are to extrapolate the figures, then come November, Victoria will not be standing as prosperously as it once did. It will be in ruins, a real Daniel Andrews inferno. So the announcement by the Lord Mayor to deliver today this report by PwC was a pretty bitter pill for her to swallow, but she did it. And while the Premier continues to deflect and blame just about everyone else for the ineptness and arrogance of his ministers and his government, we're seeing businesses and retail throughout the city dying a very rapid death. The report says the City of Melbourne's economy will contract by up to $23.5 billion, or 22% this year. Staggering numbers. And to make matters even worse, just in the city alone, during the next 5 years, there could be up to 80,000 fewer jobs than pre-COVID times. PricewaterhouseCoopers modelling shows more than 22,000 jobs could be lost in Melbourne's accommodation and food services sector this year. But in order to avert a major economic disaster, the Lord Mayor says that key stimulus and recovery plans must be put into place now to create jobs, support businesses and avoid this worst case scenario. So that's how important it is. The scale of the shock being felt across the centre of the city is unprecedented. Daniel Andrews' actions have condemned Melbourne's world-class food and cafe culture, as well as its retail sector, to death. And he's also failed to realise that his weekend roadmap to recovery was not only insulting, but callous. And it was also seen by many to be a vicious and cruel prank. All week we talked about releasing a roadmap. That's what we wanted from the Premier. What did he do? He built up our hopes, only to dash them with this traffic light exit strategy. That's pretty cruel stuff. Australia's economic recovery is dependent on Melbourne's recovery, especially given our city's global reputation as a destination for investors, for visitors, and of course for students. This new data shows that Melbourne is very much in need of urgent support from both the Victorian and federal governments. And what is also needed is real support for our businesses that are not only on their knees, but just can't see a way out. We need to provide them with confidence, and they need to see that we have created the right climate for jobs, because it's those jobs and the demand that they'll create that will help us to restore our marvellous Melbourne. The City of Melbourne is going to make a record $50 million investment in rate relief and stimulus packages to help the economy recover as quickly as possible. Have a pity now for the Lord Mayor and the news that she's had to deliver. But also understand this, that at least she's been doing something that Daniel Andrews hasn't been doing, and that is trying to lead.